ചെറിയ ടോപ്പിക്കാണ്. ഗിവ് എ ഹെഡിങ് അവന്യൂസ് ഓഫ് സോഷ്യൽ മൊബിലിറ്റി. അവന്യൂസ് ഓഫ് സോഷ്യൽ മൊബിലിറ്റി. പുതിയ ആളാണോ? പ്രീവിയസ് വീഡിയോസ് കാണണം നിങ്ങൾ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ പിന്നെ അടുത്ത ബാച്ചിൽ കംപ്ലീറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം. ഫസ്റ്റ് ലൈവ് വേണമെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ. മറ്റേ ആളെവിടെ? റാഷിദോ? So what is social mobility? Movement from one strata to other. So a lower class to upper class, right? So you are a poor person, you want to become rich person. That's what? Upward mobility, right? There are different types of mobility, caste based also, class based also, but we talk about class now. What is the source for this? That's what you mean by avenue. How can you become rich? Education is one avenue, right? Business is another avenue. Getting a government job, getting a private job, right? Top level job. These are what I mean by avenues, okay? So when they ask question, they will ask you what are the avenues of social mobility and what are the challenges to achieve social mobility. So avenue you understood. Now we have a lot of avenues that we will discuss. So it's like this only. You get education, you have mobility. So land reform, I told you, you got land, you got mobility. Those who lost land, they got downward mobility. Those who got land, upward mobility. So getting land is a kind of avenue only. Education is an avenue. Business success is an avenue only. So avenue in other way I can say sources of mobility, right? So you will see question, sources and challenges. Sources means how can I achieve mobility? So I can say education is a source of mobility or avenue of mobility. Now in challenge, you will say that everyone can say education, but can everyone have equal opportunity to education? No. So that's what the challenge, right? So a lot of factors dependent on that. Poor person cannot get proper education, right? So poverty is a challenge. If you are born for a rich person and if you are born for a poor person, the quality of education you will be getting is different. Healthcare you will be getting is different. That means your avenues will be different. When we talk about avenue, I can say education, but not everyone have the equal access. Not everyone have equal opportunity. So that is a challenge. So that is what I want to give an example. But then we can talk about a lot of challenges. So poverty means you don't have education. No education means then you don't have job. No job means you'll become poor. That means it's a vicious cycle. Then you are giving birth to children, and then the same cycle will continue. Your children also face the same problem. No education, right? No healthcare, no job, poor. So this is what the vicious cycle of poverty. So you got the meaning of this. Otherwise it is very simple. So if you get a question on sources and challenges, even if you get sources of social mobility, you will first explain what is social mobility, types of social mobility, right? And mobility is possible in case of open system, right? Closed caste it is not possible, so there is no point in discussing source there. But still you will say, even though it is a closed system, caste, but there are exceptions, right? Can you give me one mobility possibility in caste? Sanskritization is one. Otherwise, marriage. I explained already, but that is only for female, not for male, right? Female from lower caste, if you marry, your status will be elevated to your husband status. That is what hypergamy, right? But husband status will remain the same. But a female from upper caste, Brahmin marrying a Shudra, that is a downward mobility. Your status will come down to your husband status, right? That is what hypogamy. Anuloma, pratiloma, all these I'll discuss in detail in paper 2. Here I just want to mention. So sources, the word meaning you understood, or avenue, you might be hearing these kind of words maybe first time, right? So avenue, sources, these are means the possibilities, what is there, so that you can take that and you can get that mobility. Education, in theory, but in practice, you have MBA, but still you will be working for 10,000. right? You are saying that you can become rich by getting education, but can you really become rich? Then a lot of other factors also dependent on that. So what we need to do is, I'll make you write the sources of mobility, that means avenues of mobility, and the challenges of mobility. What do you think? Traditional society, the avenues are more, or modern society, the avenues are more? Modern society. In fact, I told you, by looking at avenues itself, you can understand the nature of society. A society is well developed means more the chances that you can get socially mobile. A very traditional society, orthodox society, chances of mobility is very less. You talk about US, mobility is high. You talk about African countries, possibility of mobility, choices, chances, sources, avenues are less. Traditional India, modern India, if you see, you can become rich overnight if you want today. You just build an app, just come in social media, do something, you'll become rich overnight. Traditional India, you have to work hard, heavy, still what you get, nothing. Right? So modern society have more avenues, traditional society have less avenues. That is clear? Now the other way in which you can say is, more the avenues, that is indicating modern society. Less the avenues is indicating traditional society. So what we need to now do is, we'll talk about traditional society, what were the avenues, what are the challenges. We'll talk about modern society, what are the democracy, and all these we can discuss here. So just give a heading, avenues of social mobility. This one topic is missing, so we'll complete this. I thought we'll start thinkers today. Anyway, we'll start thinkers today. I'll give you an introduction to thinkers, and tomorrow onwards we'll continue. Okay? This is the most important area, thinkers part. We don't want to write in paragraphs. You just write this only. I'll give you point, and it's your responsibility to write in paragraph when it comes to the exam. Okay? So, traditional society and modern society. In traditional society, under that you write, avenues are limited. Avenues are limited. Here you write, avenues are more. So, okay, now let me tell you, if I need to write this answer for 10 marker, now what I'll do is, if I need to write in sentence or paragraph, I'll say that in traditional society, there are limited avenues, whereas in modern society, avenues are more. In other, and if it is 10 marker, if it is 20 marker, along with that, I'll add one more line by saying that in other words, less the avenue indicating a traditional society, more the avenue indicate a modern society also. So the vice versa I'll write, if it is 20 marker. So that you are sending another message also to the examiner. By looking at the pattern of social mobility, you can tell the type of society. Correct? Getting me? Just looking at the pattern, looking at the possibilities of mobility, you can tell the type of society itself. More the avenues, modern. Less the avenues, traditional. Cool? Now write. Under this you write some very less only, right? Traditional society. So what are they? You need to write. First one, gaining political power through wars. Gaining political power through wars. So business was there during traditional society? No, no business. Business is there anytime, right? Even during King's time also, traders are there, business people were there, right? So success in business. Next, under that you can write traditional society itself. Business is there, so success in business. Next point, inheritance of wealth. Inheritance of wealth. Inheritance of wealth. Next point, sponsorship of the king. Sponsorship of the king. Right, that's enough. These are the main avenues. So you can just write in traditional society, the main avenues are these: inheritance of wealth, sponsor, the king may sponsor you, success in business, etc. Or, through wars you acquire things, right? Political power. Now, here you write modern society. Now here you need to write one by one. So here, first one, you write political system. Under that we need sub-points, okay? Similarly, economic system, under that sub-points, like that. So first we'll talk about, we have a modern political system. What is that system is based on? Democracy. So under that you write democratic society. Democratic society. Next point, representative form. Next point, contesting elections. Next point, acquiring power. So see, it's a one-time, first case I'm talking about is political system. The modern political system, which is based on democracy, right? Where can you contest election tomorrow? You can contest election tomorrow. Can you win? If you have the support, you can win. Right? Yes or no? So you can acquire political power. But just that, since it is, just write one more line, open to all. Open to all. Open to all. Anyone can contest. Anyone can contest, anyone can win, anyone can acquire political power. In theory. Is it really possible for you? That's a different question. Maybe 1 out of 100 you contest independently, you will win. Otherwise you need the backup of political party, or you need to be the son or daughter of ex-MLAs, MPs. They will get that in sentiments and otherwise, right? So that is what you will write when it comes to challenges or hindrances. Challenges or hindrances that we can write later, not now. So democratic system means open to all, you can contest election, you can get power. Is that a mobility? Yes. If you can become an MLA, you can become a minister, mobility. Because it is open to all. Modern society. Right, next one, you write economic system. Under that, political system, next economic system. Now, will you be able to explain all these now? Just 1 or 2 lines is enough, not more than that. So just to make you remember things, I am writing in bullet points. I can give you in paragraph also, but then you will miss the important points. This is the better one. Economic system. Skill-based occupational structure. Skill-based occupational structure. Guys, just one skill. That's all what you need in the present world. If you have one skill, you will become super rich. It can be any one skill. That's the opportunity that the modern society is giving. It could be even teaching also. It could be anything. Right? Any one skill if you develop, and if you can become master of that, no question about that. Next point. Under that itself, expansion in occupation. Expansion in occupation. Expansion in occupation. So is it easy for you to find a job in the modern society or traditional society? Modern society, it is easy, right? You can get if nothing is there, you can at least run in Zomato or Swiggy. Still, you will be able to do well. Okay. Next. I mean, you won't struggle at least. Third point. Increase in economic activities. Increase in economic activities. Next point. Vast employment opportunities. Vast employment opportunities in private and public. In private and public. ഇത് വളരെ ചെറിയ ടോപ്പിക്കാണ്, ഇത് മനസ്സിലാവും. വേറെ ഇടയിലാണ് താൻ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ കുറച്ച് ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടായിരുന്നു. ഇത് ഭയങ്കര സിമ്പിളാണ്, കോമൺ സെൻസ് മാത്രമേ ഉള്ളത്. ഇനി അപ്പോൾ എന്താ ഇപ്പോൾ എഴുതിയ എക്കണോമിക് സിസ്റ്റം. അടുത്തത് എഴുതൂ എഡ്യൂക്കേഷൻ. Education, under that you write open to all. Can everyone get education? Yes, right? 6 to 14 is a fundamental right also. Okay, open to all. Massification of education. Massification of education. Medium of acquiring skills. Medium of acquiring skills. Increased awareness. People have increased awareness, okay? And enhancement of choices. Enhancement of choices. Next point, technology. It's something which is self-explanatory only. You know what is actually what you're seeing, right? You just need a phone, your ChatGPT. You can make a $1 billion company. A single person, $1 billion company you can easily make. Is there any problem with ideas? Just ask, you'll get n number of ideas where the scope is there, right? Even if you want to develop an app, do you want to be a coder? Earlier, who will develop an app? Now software engineer is not required, nothing is required. Everything you can do it automatically. You can simply develop an app itself overnight. The coding will be done by that and everything, right? So even one person $1 billion company can be made, and that's what you're going to see in future. So many $1 billion companies will come with just one person only, no other employees. You'll see that in future. Next, constant improvement in technology. Constant improvement in technology, leading to constant improvement in technology, leading to new specializations. New specializations. And under that next point you write saving of time. Saving of time. Okay, now the context is entirely different. When we prepare in 2009, right, when I started preparation and I'm attending the sessions at that time, the examples that we used to discuss is dishwashers and the washing machines that actually help women to get the work done easily so that they can go for work and they got social mobility. But is that the situation now? No, things have changed massively and you can write accordingly, right? A lot of examples which you can write. Even that also you can write now. That is very much evident. At home, otherwise you will have to do all these washing, cloth washing and everything. But that itself is technology that have changed. You are saving time. Saving time is what? Mobility. Time is money ultimately. Right? Next. Culture. This is more important. Culture, because when we talk in sociological terms, this area is more important, okay? Right? Modernization of culture. See, 20 years back, you don't prefer female to go outside and work. But now, it is mandatory that female have to go outside and work. At least, now one person cannot lead a family actually. So your spouse also have to work. That is the situation. If you want to meet your aspirations, if you want to, show off something at least in front of your relatives at least, two people have to work. One person have to take care of your rent expenses and other person have to invest. Like that you need to manage. So it's mandatory. It's not choice. Both of them have to work. But that's not the situation before. Correct? So modernization of culture means you are getting more freedom now. Female can go work, come at late night, you go for the night shift also. Because technology have changed a lot of things, right? Uber and the new companies and everything. So just write more freedom. More freedom. Relaxation of rigid norms and values. So this is a point where you need to emphasize also, okay? Relaxation of rigid norms and values. Rigid mean, what does that mean? Traditional society, it is tough norms, values. The expectation from a person, and now the expectation from a person has changed. What is the expectation from a woman in a traditional society? Be at home, cooking activities and other activities. That's it, take care of home. Now what is the expectation? Now mostly women make more than male. Majority of the family, actually. A majority of the middle class family. Beyond a level, that's different. Okay, next. So that's enough, right? You'll be able to write enough sources. So we have covered political dimension, economic dimension, education, technology, and culture. That's enough. These 5 dimensions is enough. Now write challenges or hindrances. Okay? Challenges or hindrances for social mobility. First one, poverty, lack of resources, poverty, lack of resources, poor health, poor education, less choices. Okay, so self-explanatory. Any question in that? Any doubt? Poverty means under that, it all comes under poverty actually. You don't have much choices, right? You don't have much resources. If you are poor, your health also is not good. If your health is not good, you can't do anything else also. Okay? Next, illiteracy. Under that you write less awareness, low skill level, restricted choices. Any question? Self-explanatory? Third. See, നമ്മൾ നേരത്തെ എഴുതിയപ്പോൾ cultural positivity നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞു. But is it completely changed culture? Still issues are there. So അടുത്തത് അതിനിടയിൽ എഴുതുക cultural hindrances. Cultural hindrances. Right, under that, cultural bias towards some occupation. Cultural bias towards some occupation. Cultural bias towards some occupation. Means female, mostly you will see, now things are changing, but still, mostly you will see as nurses, right, as teachers. Similarly, you won't see a Brahmin as a manual scavenger, right? So these are, and Dalit you will see as a manual scavenger mostly. So this is again some cultural biases there. Even though you say cultural freedom, but still cultural biases there. Yes, freedom is given, but again restrictions are there. Next point. Lack of freedom. Under that itself, lack of freedom. Low preference for education. Low preference for education. For example, Muslim female community. Okay? Preference for education is low. I'm not talking about Kerala alone. We're talking completely. Right? If you see certain belt of North India, some areas, female education, especially among Muslims, among the Dalits, it's very less. Okay? Stress on family values. Stress on family values. Next point, religious restrictions. Religious restrictions. Next, psychological. See, here you just need to add one more point, that's it. Because we have discussed all these possibilities. You have an educational system, you have economic system, you have political system, everything is in favor of you. But if you're psychologically not willing, if you're lazy, no one can lift you like this and place it like this, right? You want to go, all these are the bridge. You will have to cross. So you can write one point under that: laziness, lack of motivation. Laziness, lack of motivation. Resistance to change. Resistance to change. Inability to accept new technology. Inability to accept new technology. See, you will see in the modern setup, those who were the senior managers in some IT companies, they will be fired. Why? They're not able to use the modern technology and all. Right? And modern technology increases speed and efficiency. So the company want what? Faster, efficient employees. So we'll see, in fact, those who are not able to adapt to these changes and use these technologies, they'll be fired. Similarly, some people are not willing to adapt change. They want to stick to the traditional values and all. Still, you don't have mobility. So these are hindrances. Simple topic. Done with it. They can ask you a question. So if the question is asked, they'll ask you, what is social mobility? What are the sources of mobility? What are the hindrances to achieve mobility? So you know what is mobility? Movement of people. You know the types of mobility. We discussed different types. We know the sources now. We know traditional society also, modern society also, and we know the hindrances also. Okay. So now we will start thinkers. I'll give you an introduction today, and first theory we will start from tomorrow. Okay? Sociological thinkers, you can give a heading. So we have first one, Karl Marx, and then Emile Durkheim, Max Weber, Talcott Parsons, Robert Merton, and we have George Herbert Mead. So we have couple of theories here, 2 here, 1 here, and 3, 4 in this. So this will form 60% of your syllabus. And with the understanding of this, rest of the chapters also, you'll have to write. Okay? But this is going to be very easy, guys. Now what you need to do is, I'll just write, you just write one by one. First you write Karl Marx, just write Karl Marx. I'll tell you a couple of points and then we write Weber. Karl Marx, just write. Bracket you write years 1818 to 1883. Write like this. 1818 to 1883, his lifespan, okay? Hyphen, German thinker. Under that you write productive years 1840 to 1883. So he started writing from 1840 to till last 1883. His productive years. Most productive years, under that most productive years, the theories that we are going to learn, that is 1840 to 1860. 1840 to 1860. Okay. So just to have an idea about Marx, further we will discuss. Next you write Emil Durkheim, Durkheim, Emil Durkheim. Bracket 1858 to 1917. 1858 to 1917. French sociologist. Productive years 1890 to 1917. 1890 to 1917. Third, Max Weber. Bracket 1864 to 1920. 1864 to 1920. German. Productive years 1900 to 1920. 1900 to 1920. Next you write Mead. Order will go in order. Okay, Mead you write. G.H. Mead. 1863 to 1931. 1863 to 1931. American. So we have mostly German, French and American sociologists. American. Productive years 1910 to 1931. Productive years 1910 to 1931. 1910 to 1931. Productive years. Bracket he never wrote a book, only lectures. He never wrote a book, only lectures. So then you may ask me, then why this theory and all, right? So basically his understanding, his concepts, all these are formulated by his student Blumer. That I will be discussing when it comes to that particular area. Okay. So who consolidated and all those things I'll cover there. He himself have not written the book. That perspective also, symbolic interactionism, it is his ideas which has been formulated into a perspective by his student Blumer. Okay. So that is why I've made it very clear here. Next you write Parson. Talcott Parson. 1902 to 1979. 1902 to 1979. You can see the life expectancy is increasing, right? When time is going, earlier 50 to 60 years, now these people are living more. Okay, 1972 and 1920 to 1979, American. Productive year 1937 to 1979. 1937 to 1979. Next one, Merton. Robert Merton. Merton. 1910 to 2003. 1910 to 2003. American. Productive years 1949 to 2003. Okay, now what we are going to do is, we are going to write in which socio-economic and political conditions they were writing. Right? That is very important. Why? Because Marx is writing in a different context, but when it comes to Merton and Parson is writing in an entirely different context. Merton, Parson, these are contemporary thinkers, just 30-40 years back. So when Marx is writing, capitalism is at its peak, exploitation is the highest level, colonialism and all is there. But when it comes to Merton, Parson, things have completely changed. Colonialism and all is not there, right? Freedom, it's fully freedom. UN, World Bank, etc. came. So things have completely changed. So we need to understand the socio-economic and political condition in which they were writing. So one is writing maybe immediately after the French Revolution. The other is writing after even we get freedom. And we got freedom only after every other countries are getting freedom. That's a different case. Even Afghanistan also got it before us, right? So, yeah, this is what. First thing. And then we look at the perspective. Because Marx is writing in one perspective, exact opposite is what? Durkheim. And altogether different will be Weber. So one person will tell religion is good. The other person will tell religion is worst. Who will tell religion is worst? Marx, right? Religion is the heart of heartless world, soul of soulless condition, and opium of masses. Religion is opiating you by telling that you better suffer here as much as you can. In the other world, you will get heaven. Those who suffer in this world maximum, they are the one who deserve what? Heaven. They deserve better treatment. So you'll be, that is what opium is given to you. This is the opium, this thought. So I'm willing to suffer now because this is hardly 40-50 years I'm suffering here. But rest of my life will be in heaven. Yes or no? So this is how Marx take religion. That is what. But on the other side, Durkheim will say it is functional, it is integrating people and all. So my point is, two people writing in the similar context, right, come with a contrasting understanding of same, whether it is religion or politics or whatever it is. So we need to see perspective. One is conflict approach, we talk about the dysfunctions and negatives. The other is functional approach. That is how your perspective also you will enhance. Now see, this is directly going to be applicable in your GS also. What? When you are talking about a topic, you will be writing its positives. That's what the functionalist approach. Even we have seen inequality is functional in the last session. So that you will be able to find function in anything, the positives of anything. Correct? And then you will use conflict perspective, you will find the negatives. This is the critical evaluation. So when you are studying Marx, that is basically helping you for what? To critically analyze anything. Okay, so we'll see perspective and then we will have to discuss the methods these guys have used. Marx not used any such methods, but other thinkers. See, Marx is not a pure sociologist. Don't take it that way. Because of Marx's contribution towards society, we consider him, most of his writing is about society. That is why you consider him a sociologist and you don't have such an intellectual depth also otherwise. So you have to take Marx as a sociologist. Marx is actually a political scientist. More than that, Marx is an economist. Even more than that, I would say Marx is a philosopher. Less is sociologist. But we talk Marx as a sociologist. Okay, but others are pure sociologists. Cool? So we talk about methods and then their ideas about individual and society. Because each had different concept about individual's role with respect to society. Some will say society is superior. Some will say individual is superior. For example, Weber says individual is superior. Who will say society is superior? Durkheim. Social facts. Here social action. Macro, micro. Their view about individual and society, and then I'll tell you what are the theories. And then we will make a table. With that, we'll finish today's session and then we'll start the theory from tomorrow. Okay, so just give a heading, this one, socio-economic and political condition. Socio-economic and political condition. Right, early thinkers. Now see guys, any question that comes to your mind during these sessions, you can clear it there itself. Just 1 minute.
भैया ये तो सैटरडे गया था, सैटरडे कोई भी फोन ना डालता नहीं है और कोई भी नहीं था सैटरडे को.
So yeah, early thinkers, Marx, Weber and Durkheim. Marx, Weber and Durkheim formulated their thoughts in the context of socio-economic and political chaos in European society. Socio-economic and political chaos in European society. Socio-economic and political chaos in European society. എന്നിട്ട് ഈ രാത്രി ഉറക്കം വരുന്ന പഠിച്ചിട്ടാണോ ഇത്രയും ടയേർഡായിരിക്കുന്നത്? ഫുഡിൻ്റെ ആണോ? നിങ്ങൾ എവിടുന്ന ഫുഡ് കഴിക്കുന്ന? ഹോസ്റ്റലാണോ? സ്റ്റുഡൻറ് ടൈമിൽ അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ തന്നെയാണ്. അറ്റ്ലീസ്റ്റ് കേരളത്തിലെങ്കിലും അല്ലേ. ഞാൻ ചണ്ഡീഗഡ് പോയി എന്നാണ് പഠിച്ചത് സോഷ്യോളജി പഠിക്കാനായിട്ട്. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പം വാട്ട് യു മീൻ ബൈ ദാറ്റ്? സോഷ്യോ എക്കണോമിക് പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ കെയോസ്. നമ്മൾ എമർജൻസ് ഓഫ്, വി ഡിസ്കസ് ദിസ് ഇൻ ദ എമർജൻസ് ഇറ്റ് സെൽഫ്, റൈറ്റ്? എമർജൻസ് ഓഫ് സോഷ്യോളജിയിൽ വാട്ട് വി ഹാവ് സീൻ, മോഡേണിറ്റി, French Revolution. So French society was in a complete state of chaos. So Durkheim, if you see, writing in French society, the others in German society. So their situation is different. Is that the same situation when these guys are writing? The other guys? No. Then these things are changed. In fact, it's a modern society is what you see, right? And that too, they are from US. All the rest of the three are from America. And the World War II is over, right? The World War II completely changed everything also. Okay. Europe was witnessing a drastic transformation due to industrialization and democratization in particular, and modernization in general. Industrialization, democratization in particular, and modernization in general. Full stop. These thinkers attempted to address the problem of social order faced by different countries in Europe. faced by different countries in Europe. Although these thinkers wrote in the similar context, although these thinkers wrote in the similar context, but their responses to the situation differed in terms of the use of perspectives, methods, and the subject matter. ആ സെൻറ്റൻസ് നിങ്ങൾ അണ്ടർലൈൻ ചെയ്യ്. Although they have written under the similar context, but their understanding different in terms of perspective, method, etc. Okay, means in the Marx is writing in the similar context, Durkheim is writing in the similar context, but Marx's understanding of religion is different than Durkheim's understanding on religion. That is because of the perspectives. That perspective means what? It is your viewpoint, the way I see things, right? Vallada vera complication onnilla adile. The way I see, my perspective means my viewpoint. Next paragraph ആയിട്ട് വേണമെങ്കിൽ എഴുതിക്കോ. സെയിം ഹെഡിങ് തന്നെയാണ്. മീഡ് an American social psychologist. മീഡും ഒരു പ്യുവർ സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ്. ഹി ഈസ് നോട്ട് എ പ്യുവർ സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ്, ഈസ് എ സോഷ്യൽ സൈക്കോളജിസ്റ്റ് എന്നാണ് നമ്മൾ കൂടുതൽ ബെറ്റർ ആയിട്ട് പറയുന്നത്. മീഡ് an American social psychologist intended to develop a science of society which could solve social problems, social problems, full stop. American society during first half of 20th century, was an emerging welfare state. Okay, so now we are talking about what situation? Things have changed completely. American society is what we are discussing. It's a welfare state now. Earlier we are talking about the situation where you see complete political, socio-economic chaos, turmoil, disturbed society. But now a stable welfare society. And when it comes to Merton and Parson, it is even more stable. Even the World War is over, colonialism is over, nothing is there, no such exploitation is there. Okay, so right. And there is a welfare state. The solution to social problem was one of the most important challenge. The solution to social problems was one of the most important challenge. The solution to social problem was the most important challenge before the welfare state. Okay, Parson and Merton writing in 1940s. Parson and Merton writing in 1940s had an entirely different context. Colonialism was a thing of past. Means colonialism is completely over. Welfare state established in number of countries. welfare state established in number of countries, international institutions emerged, and people started challenging the supremacy of West, and people started challenging the supremacy of West. Challenging the supremacy of West means Western countries were superior because of colonialism and all. Now it started challenging. Colonialism is over, welfare state established, international institutions came, World Bank, IMF, etc. Okay, WTO, all these came. So people started challenging the supremacy of West. Next sentence. Both were concerned about maintenance of social order, developing guide to planning, and developing a more humanist approach, towards the understanding of society. That underline cheyu. Both were concerned about maintenance of social order, developing guide to planning. So അവരുടെ റൈറ്റിംഗ് എന്താണ്? കുറച്ചുകൂടി ഗവൺമെന്റിനെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് ഒരു ഡെവലപ്പിംഗ് ഗൈഡ് ടു പ്ലാനിങ് അതിനൊക്കെ ഉള്ളൊരു ടൈപ്പ് ഓഫ് റൈറ്റിംഗ് ആണ് കൂടുതലുള്ളത്. മെയിൻ്റനൻസ് ഓഫ് സോഷ്യൽ ഓർഡർ അങ്ങനെ. ഓക്കെ, നെക്സ്റ്റ് സെൻറ്റൻസ്. ഇൻ ജനറൽ മാർക്സ്, വെബർ, Durkheim and Mead are called as modern sociologists, whereas Parson and Merton are known as later sociologist, or even sometimes contemporary sociologist. അപ്പോൾ ഈ പറഞ്ഞ വെബറും ഡുർഖീമൊക്കെ മോഡേൺ സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ് ആണെന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അപ്പോൾ ആരാ ഏർലി സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ക്ലാസിക്കൽ സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ്? ഓഗസ്റ്റ് കോംറ്റെ അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ആൾക്കാർ. ഓക്കെ, ഔട്ട് ഓഫ് ദിസ് മാർക്സ് നെവർ കോൾഡ് ഹിംസെൽഫ് ആസ് സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ്. ഔട്ട് ഓഫ് ദിസ് മാർക്സ് നെവർ കോൾഡ് ഹിംസെൽഫ് ആസ് സോഷ്യോളജിസ്റ്റ്. Mead, M-E-A-D, Mead preferred to call himself as social psychologist, and others are referred to as sociologist. Okay, so see, before we start the thinkers, if you need to understand them, first you need to understand in which context you are writing. They are writing. So this is the context. So when we talk about the initial thinkers, Marx, Weber, Durkheim, they are writing in the context where the society is different compared to the others. The society is like exploitation, colonialism, West is supreme, they are capturing all the other countries and they are controlling through colonialism and all. right? And the capitalism is at its peak, industrialization came, exploitation is there everywhere, and French Revolution, fights and wars everywhere. So the scenario is different. Later, when Parson and Merton came, situation have completely changed. Welfare states emerged. Not when Mead is writing welfare state at that point of time in US, 1920s I'm talking about, like during the First World War period. But after the Second World War, every country got independence, right? Every country became independent. Majority of the countries became welfare state. So welfare state established in many of the countries. UN came, IMF came, World Bank came, this WTO, and all these international institutions came. So the scenario is completely different. This is the first understanding that you need to have. Now, next is perspective. Perspective means what is their point of view. So I see inequality in functional terms. You may see in a dysfunctional terms. I'll see inequality is required, it is good, so that it is fulfilling some vital functions in the society and thereby helping the society to maintain as it is. Why society is existing? Because inequality is there. If everyone is equal, can society exist? If everyone is equal, society cannot exist. Everyone have this mutual interdependence. I depend on you, you depend on me, that's why we are here. So similarly, I depend on that tea shop if I need to get a tea, he depend on me if he need to survive, right? So that is, and the manual scavengers is required, rich people is required, vegetable vendors is required, milk vendor is required. Everyone have his own role in the society. If everyone is equal, society won't function. So that is the stand of functionalist. But the other side, it is creating distrust, it is creating, exploitation. Some will get more, some will get less. If you start talking about that, that's the different approach. You got my point, right? So I can see the same phenomena in multiple way. I can see the positives alone, I can see the negative alone. So which view you should take? Positive or negative? You should take balanced view. You should also talk about the positives, you should talk about the negative, and finally, you'll take a balanced stand. You talk about the positives and you say, despite all these positives, these are its issues. And then finally you will say, even though those issues are there, this is required. Right? So the balanced conclusion is what we need. So we don't stand with anyone. You need to write in a balanced way. Your answer should not reflect whether you're an upper caste or a lower caste. Even if you're a female and extreme feminist, your view should never be reflected. You cannot write as a male or a female. You may be an upper caste Hindu and you are very, having bad opinion about reservation and all, but still, it should not be reflected. You should not write as an upper caste or a lower caste or a North Indian, or as North Indians have, some kind of different feeling towards South Indian. The kind of hatred is also there. We should not even opposite, I don't know. Anyway, I don't have. So that should not be reflected in your answer. You just write like, normal. They should not understand in any way you're writing. You should not write as a Muslim or a Hindu. If you write as a strong anti-Muslim, imagine someone from JNU is evaluating your paper, or Jamia Millia is evaluating your paper. Then you're finished. Or Aligarh University, you don't know from where. And if you're taking an anti-Hindu, then someone from Delhi University or, then finished. So that is why, and you are taking an extreme feminist view. Imagine someone strong male person is evaluating. So if I am evaluating, then finished that person. Right? Yeah. So right next is perspective. Give a heading, perspective. Different thinkers approached the subject matter of sociology. Different thinkers approached the subject matter of sociology from different viewpoints. From different viewpoints. See, this viewpoint is what? Perspective. Okay, when I say perspective means it's my viewpoint. Due to this, even if they were writing in the similar context, due to this, even if they were writing in the similar context, contrasting theories and often contradictory were developed. Okay, now Durkheim carried forward functional perspective initiated by Auguste Comte, AUGUSTE COMTE, Auguste Comte, and Herbert Spencer. Okay, underline functional perspective. Later on, Parson and Merton gave important contribution to the development of functionalism. So, Durkheim is a functionalist, Parson is a functionalist, Merton is a functionalist. So, out of the 6 thinkers that you're studying, 3 are functionalists. So, your job is actually easy. How functionalism evolved is what we need to discuss then. Okay, and Marx is opposite, conflict. Weber is multidimensional. He talked multiple things. Okay, right, next. Marx introduced conflict perspective. Conflict, CONFLICT, conflict perspective, an entirely new and radical approach towards understanding society. Next point, underline conflict perspective. Next point, under the influence of Darwin's theory of biological evolution, the initial sociologist frequently used an evolutionary perspective. Underline ചെയ്യൂ evolutionary perspective. എന്താ ബയോളജിക്കൽ എവല്യൂഷൻ തിയറി? എന്താ നമ്മളെങ്ങനെയാണ് ഹ്യൂമൻ ബീങ്സ് ഉണ്ടായതെന്ന്, പഴയ കുരങ്ങന്മാരെന്ന് അല്ലേ? പക്ഷേ ഇവിടെ ഇവർ സൊസൈറ്റി എങ്ങനെ ഈ ലെവലിൽ എത്തിയെന്നൊരു എവല്യൂഷണറി പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവിൽ ഡുർഖീമും മാർക്സും പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. സോ അതാണ് ഞാനിപ്പോൾ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്. ഓക്കെ, റൈറ്റ്, ഒരു ലൈൻ എഴുതിക്കോ. ബോത്ത് മാർക്സ് ആൻഡ് ഡുർഖീം framed evolutionary theory of society. Next sentence. Parson, writing in 1970s, also developed a grand evolutionary theory. ആ തിയറി നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കും, ഗ്രാൻഡ് എവല്യൂഷണറി തിയറി. Mead also developed a comprehensive evolutionary theory linking mind, self and society. mind, self and society. ആ തിയറി നമ്മൾ മീഡിൽ പഠിക്കും. ഓക്കെ, അതാണ് മീഡിൻ്റെ തിയറി. നെക്സ്റ്റ് പാരഗ്രാഫ്. മാക്സ് വെബർ ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസ്ഡ് interpretive perspective using a micro approach. അത് അണ്ടർലൈൻ ചെയ്യൂ. ഇന്റർപ്രറ്റീവ് പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ്. നമ്മൾ ആ പോസിറ്റിവിസത്തിൽ നിന്ന് നോൺ പോസിറ്റിവിസത്തിലേക്ക് പോകുന്ന ഒരു ബ്രിഡ്ജ്, അതാണ് ആ പെർസ്പെക്റ്റീവ്. അതിൻ്റെ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് നമുക്ക് വെബർ വരുമ്പോൾ എടുക്കാം. He emphasized on studying the internal meanings, motives and values held by individuals. Meanings, motives, values held by individuals. Mead laid the foundation of understanding society. Mead laid the foundation of understanding society in terms of interaction between people. This perspective, interaction between people, this perspective later on came to be known as എന്തെങ്കിലും ഐഡിയ ഉണ്ടോ? symbolic interactionism. We'll study in Mead. Symbolic interactionism means we interact using symbols, right? So we interact using gestures. Gestures can be verbal, non-verbal. Verbal means this actually I'm talking. Non-verbal means actions, right? Symbols. Okay, underline symbolic interactionism. So നാല് important approach ആണ് ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ 4 important approaches what we have seen. 1, functionalism. Durkheim, Parson, Merton belong to that. Marx, conflict. Weber, interpretive approach. Mead, symbolic interactionism. So we need to see all these in detail. Okay, right, one more. Apart from this, Marx and Durkheim were macro sociologists, whereas Mead and Weber are micro sociologists, and Parson and Merton what? Combination of both. Combined two perspectives. Parson and Merton combined two perspectives. Scope of sociology, I have discussed this already. Weber, Durkheim was macro, Weber is micro, formal school, synthetic school. Then came the next phase where Parson, Merton, etc. combination. So combine two. Okay, so perspective, this is what we are going to see in detail in each of these thinkers. Next, we can write methods. Either just see, you don't want to mug up all these things. Just go one reading, that's enough, and then just have an idea, understanding. You are not going to reproduce anything from this. We see it directly from the thinkers and theories. This is only for you to understand the context. So that just read, just have a basic idea. You're not going to write this for answers. For that, it is coming, the theories, okay? Just have a basic understanding only. Methods. Next, under that you write, with the establishment of sociology, as a distinct discipline, with the establishment of sociology as a distinct discipline, search for specific methods can be seen in the writings of all thinkers. Can be seen in the writings of all the thinkers. Okay. Next sentence. Weber and Durkheim framed specific methods to be used in sociology. Weber and Durkheim framed specific methods to be used in sociology. Next sentence. Marx developed methods for studying society, which later on became part of sociological method. Okay. Next sentence. Merton developed a functional paradigm. That's spelling PARADIGM. Functional paradigm. But Parson was more involved with abstract theorization without practically using specific method. Okay. One more. Mead used quantitative methods similar to natural sciences for developing his theory of self. Yeah, this area, method, that may be slightly difficult for you, but when we are discussing the theories, we are going to see the methods, how they used, and then you will understand it better. Right? So this is just a glimpse of what we are going to see. Next, this one. The views about individual and society. At the heading, views about individual and society. Right. For a sociologist, the smallest part of subject matter is the individual, and the largest unit in the society. Yeah. Largest unit is the society as a whole. Okay, full stop. Understanding of relation between individual and society individual and society has been the task of all thinkers. Has been the task of all thinkers. Next sentence. Individuals are woven, W-O-V-E-N. Individuals are woven into a pattern of relationship, stitched, that's what I mean. Woven means stitched into a pattern of relationship, forming society. Forming society. Means what? We individuals are stitched in a society, in a kind of relationship and forming the society, like a teacher-student relation, right? Similarly, different relations you'll see, and then society is formed. These patterns of relationships are mediated by social institutions. Social institution എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താ? ഫാമിലി, റിലീജിയൻ, അങ്ങനത്തെ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെയാണ് സോഷ്യൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻ. സോ നമ്മുടെ ആക്ഷൻസ്, നമ്മൾ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്യുന്നു, എന്തൊക്കെ ചിന്തിക്കുന്നു എന്നൊക്കെ ഉള്ളത് ഡിസൈഡ് ചെയ്യുന്നത് ഈ ഫാക്ടേഴ്സാണ്. ഓക്കെ, റിലീജിയൻ, യുവർ വർക്ക്, യുവർ ഫാമിലി, ഓൾ ദീസ്. സോഷ്യൽ ഇൻസ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂഷൻസ്, social groups and social processes. Institutions, groups and social processes. Which are present as integral part of society. Which are present as integral parts of society. Okay, now right. Different thinkers had different view. Different thinkers had different view about the primacy and supremacy. The primacy and supremacy of individual in relation to society. Individual vis-a-vis society. Vis-a-vis means in relation to society. എങ്ങനെ ഇതെല്ലാം കുഴപ്പമില്ല. Individual in relation to society. Individual in relation with society. Means what? See, what does that mean? Different thinkers had, I have a different view. I have a view on individual and society. You have a different view on individual and society. I may say individual is supreme. You may say society is supreme. I may say it is an individual action. It is I take this class because it's my own motivation. But you may say that society is asking you to take the class, right? Or I may say that she's preparing for this exam because her own motivation. But another person may say, no, your family, your society is playing a major role and asking her to prepare, so she is preparing. So which one is correct? What? Right? You have motivation at the same time, and that is what we will see in parcel. One side motivation is required, at the other side this pressure is also required. Family, religion, that means values are required. Okay. Next sentence. Marx and Durkheim gave primacy to individual. Gave primacy to individual. Full stop. For Durkheim, society is supreme. For Durkheim, society is supreme and controls the individual. And controls the individual. Full stop. Society have its own existence. Society have its own existence irrespective of the will of the individual. അത് നിങ്ങൾ എന്തൊക്കെ ചിന്തിച്ചാലും നിങ്ങൾ എന്തൊക്കെ ചെയ്താലും society have its own existence. Society is supreme for Durkheim. So society have its own existence irrespective of the will of the individual. Okay, so for Durkheim, society is supreme. ഇനി ആർക്കാണ് ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ സുപ്രീം ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്? വെബർ, പാർസൺ മേർട്ടൺ, ബോത്ത്. Irrespective of the will of the individual, right? Bracket like this, society comes in existence its own. Society comes into existence its own. Also add this word, it is sui generis, SUI generis, inverted comma ഇടാ. ഇത് നിങ്ങൾ ഡുർഖീം വരുമ്പോൾ പഠിക്കും. എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഒന്നുമില്ല, ഇത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. സൊസൈറ്റി കെയിം ഇൻ ടു എക്സിസ്റ്റൻസ് ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓൺ. ആരും ഉണ്ടാക്കിയതും അല്ല, കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് വെച്ചതും അല്ല. ഓവർ എ പീരീഡ് ഓഫ് ടൈം സൊസൈറ്റി ഇവോൾവ്ഡ്. സൊസൈറ്റി ഈസ് സുപ്രീം. ഇറ്റ് കെയിം ഇൻ ടു എക്സിസ്റ്റൻസ് ഇറ്റ്സ് ഓൺ. ദാറ്റ്സ് വാട്ട് യു മീൻ ബൈ sui generis. ഇത് കൂടുതൽ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് നമ്മൾ അഗെയിൻ ഡുർഖീമിൽ റീവിസിറ്റ് ഇറ്റ്. Next, Marx understood, continuation, next sentence. Marx understood society as a system of production. Marx understood society as a system of production having a structure. System of production having a structure. Society influences the individual and his consciousness and imposes limitations Next sentence. Both Mead and Weber gave primacy to individual. For Weber, social reality is constructed in terms of meanings attached by the actor to the action. Okay, so for Durkheim he will say the meaning is generated because of society, but Weber says inside of you there is a meaning which is generated, because of that you motivated, because of that you do the work, and that creates society. Not only one individual, multiple individuals have their own meanings, they do the action, that creates society. So ultimately the meanings generated in the mind of the individual lead to society. So micro will become macro. They are saying macro imposes on you. നമ്മൾ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് പിന്നെ കാണാം. ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കിയാൽ മതി. സം ഗിവ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ടു മൈക്രോ, അതർ മാക്രോ. വൺ ഗിവ് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് ടു ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ, അതർ ടു സൊസൈറ്റി. Next sentence. Mead understood realities of society in terms of interactions takes place between individuals. These interactions are the building blocks of society. Okay, next sentence. Parson and Merton developed an integrated approach. Parson and Merton developed an integrated approach by synthesizing the earlier viewpoints. By synthesizing the earlier viewpoints. Parson and Merton developed an integrated approach by synthesizing the earlier viewpoints. Underline integrated approach. Synthesizing means combining the earlier points. Means what? For them, society is important, individual is also important. Both are equally important. Okay, society's influence is there. At the same time, individuals' motivation, meaning also required for the action. For them, both individual and society, for them, both individual and society are parts of the same process, are parts of the same process and cannot be separated. And cannot be separated. They are interdependent. They are interdependent and complementary. And complementary. Next point. Parson expressed these views. Parson expressed these views in the dichotomy of DICHO, dichotomy. Dichotomy of motivational and value orientation. നമ്മൾ പഠിക്കും അത് വിട്ടേക്കുക. In the dichotomy of motivational and value orientation. അതായത് for any action I am doing, രണ്ട് കാര്യങ്ങളുണ്ട്, രണ്ട് ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. ഒന്ന് വാല്യൂ ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് പുറത്തുനിന്നുള്ളത്, രണ്ട് മോട്ടിവേഷണൽ ഉള്ളിൽ നിന്നുള്ളത്. അതായത് സൊസൈറ്റൽ ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ഉണ്ട്, ഇൻഡിവിജ്വൽ ഇൻഫ്ലുവൻസ് ഉണ്ട്. അതാണ് ഈ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചത്. നമ്മൾ പാർസൺ വരുമ്പോൾ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് എടുക്കാം. Merton, next sentence, Merton emphasized on manifest and latent function. Manifest and latent function shows the same concern. Shows the same concern. Manifest, Merton's emphasis on manifest and latent function shows the same concern. Manifest and latent. മാനിഫെസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറയാം, ആക്ച്വലി അത് നമ്മൾ ഡീറ്റെയിൽ ആയിട്ട് ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യാം. മാനിഫെസ്റ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്ക് കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്ന വിസിബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങൾ, ഫങ്ഷൻസ്. ലേറ്റൻ്റ് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഹിഡൻ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഫങ്ഷൻസ്. ഇപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളെ സോഷ്യോളജി പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നു. ഓക്കെ, മാനിഫെസ്റ്റ് ഫങ്ഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നിങ്ങൾ പഠിച്ച് പാസ്സാവുന്നു. അതായിരിക്കും ഇതിൻ്റെ മാനിഫെസ്റ്റ്. നിങ്ങൾ അതിനാണ് പഠിക്കുന്നത്. നമ്മൾ എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഔട്ട്കം ആണ് മാനിഫെസ്റ്റ്. ലേറ്റൻ്റ് എന്ന് പറയുമ്പോൾ സോഷ്യോളജി പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഓട്ടോമാറ്റിക്കലി നിങ്ങളുടെ നോളജ് ഓൺ സൊസൈറ്റി ഇംപ്രൂവ് ആവുന്നു, നിങ്ങളുടെ ഇൻ്റർവ്യൂ ഇംപ്രൂവ് ആവുന്നു. നിങ്ങൾ ഈ പഠിച്ച് പാസ്സായതിന് ശേഷം നിങ്ങളൊരു നല്ല അഡ്മിനിസ്ട്രേറ്റർ ആവാനുള്ള പോസിബിലിറ്റി ഭയങ്കര കൂടുതലാണ്. അത് നമ്മൾ എക്സ്പെക്ട് ചെയ്യാത്ത ഔട്ട്കമാണ്, അതായത് ഹിഡൻ ആയിട്ടുള്ളതാണ്. അതാണ് ഉദ്ദേശിക്കുന്നത്. പിന്നെ നമുക്ക് പറയാം. സോ നൗ യു ഗിവ് എ ഹെഡിങ് സ്റ്റഡീസ് ഓർ തിയറീസ്. നമുക്ക് വാട്ട് എവർ വി ആർ ഗോയിങ് ടു സ്റ്റഡി നൗ അത് ഏതൊക്കെയാണെന്ന് പേര് മെൻഷൻ ചെയ്ത് പോവാം. ഫസ്റ്റ് മാർക്സ്, കാൾ മാർക്സ് എന്ന് എഴുതണേ. കാൾ മാർക്സ്, ഫസ്റ്റ് തിയറി ഹിസ്റ്റോറിക്കൽ മെറ്റീരിയലിസം. നെക്സ്റ്റ് theory of class and class struggle. Next, alienation. Theory of historical materialism, theory of class and class struggle, theory of alienation. So next 3 days, 4 days, 5 days we spend for marks, 3 theories. Okay, 4 days, 3 theories and 1 day critical analysis. That's how we do. Next, Weber. Theory of social action. Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. Another theory. Protestant or religion ആണ്. How this religion helped in the development of capitalism. അതാണ് theory. Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. Third നിങ്ങൾ എഴുത് Weber's methodology. Weber's methodology. നിങ്ങളെപ്പോലെ തന്നെയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ആദ്യം കേൾക്കുമ്പോൾ അപ്പോഴൊന്നും മനസ്സിലാവില്ലായിരുന്നു. ഞാൻ എഴുതിയിരുന്നത് Protestant ethic എന്ന് എഴുതി. I thought he is saying Protestant ethic is one theory, spirit of capitalism is another theory. So I have written Protestant ethic and next bullet point spirit of capitalism. Then I cut it and wrote it Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism as two. അല്ലാതെ നമ്മൾ എഴുതി പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഓക്കെ തിയറി ഓഫ് സോഷ്യൽ ആക്ഷൻ, സെക്കൻഡ് പ്രൊട്ടസ്റ്റന്റ് എത്തിക്, തേർഡ് സ്പിരിറ്റ് ഓഫ്, അങ്ങനെ എഴുതി പോയിട്ട് പിന്നെ മറ്റ് സെയിം സിറ്റുവേഷൻ സെയിം ഫോർ ഓൾ. ഓക്കെ, വെബേഴ്സ് മെത്തഡോളജി. നെക്സ്റ്റ്, Durkheim. Division of labor, first theory. Division of labor. Second, suicide. Suicide. Next, religion. Next, Durkheim's methodology. Durkheim's methodology. അടുത്തത് മീഡ്. തിയറി ഓഫ് സെൽഫ്. മീഡില് തിയറി ഓഫ് സെൽഫ് ഒരു തിയറി ഉള്ളൂ. ഓക്കെ, അടുത്തത് പാർസൺ. തിയറി ഓഫ് സോഷ്യൽ ആക്ഷൻ. വെബറിൻ്റെ നിങ്ങൾ നോക്ക്, ഫസ്റ്റ് തിയറി ഏതാണ് നോക്ക്, സോഷ്യൽ ആക്ഷൻ. അതിൻ്റെ എക്സ്റ്റൻഷനാണ് ഈ തിയറി. അപ്പം അവിടെ നിന്ന് നിങ്ങൾ ഇങ്ങോട്ടേക്ക് വരും. ഇൻഫാക്ട് വെബറിൻ്റെ റിസർച്ച് തുടങ്ങുന്നത്, അല്ല പാർസൻ്റെ തുടങ്ങുന്നത് വേർ വെബർ സ്റ്റോപ്ഡ്. അപ്പോൾ അത് എളുപ്പമാണ് ആക്ച്വലി. അടുത്തത് തിയറി ഓഫ് സോഷ്യൽ സിസ്റ്റം. ഈ രണ്ട് തിയറി ഉള്ളൂ. ഓക്കെ, അടുത്തത് മെർട്ടൺ. ഫസ്റ്റ് വൺ, മെർട്ടൺസ് ഫങ്ഷണൽ പാരഡൈം. PARADIGM. Merton's functional paradigm. Next, theory of reference group. Theory of reference group. Next, theory of deviance. Have you heard this word anywhere else? Evada? സ്റ്റാറ്റിസ്റ്റിക്സിലെ ഡിവിയൻസ് അല്ല നമ്മളെവിടെ പറഞ്ഞേക്കുന്ന. ഐ ഹാവ് ഡിസ്കസ്ഡ് ഇറ്റ് ഇൻ ദിസ് ക്ലാസ്. അനോമി, നോംലെസ്നെസ്, അതിൻ്റെ വേറൊരു വേർഡാണ് ഡീവിയൻസ്. വേറൊരു ടേമാണ് ഡീവിയൻസ്. യു ആർ ഡീവിയേറ്റിംഗ് ഫ്രം നോംസ്. ഡീവിയൻസ്. സോ തിയറി ഓഫ് ഡീവിയൻസ്. ബേസിക്കലി തിയറി ഓഫ് അനോമി ആണ് തിയറി ഓഫ് ഡീവിയൻസ്. ഇത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. ദിസ് ഈസ് വാട്ട് we need to learn. Okay. So what we need now is, we'll start with Marx. I'll fill one column, rest of it you will be doing later. So just understand, you don't want to do anything now. So you talk about the nationality and the lifespan, right? 1818 to 1883. നമ്മൾ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്ത് തന്നെ 1818 to 1883 ജർമ്മൻ ആൻഡ് പ്രൊഡക്റ്റീവ് ഇയർ 1840 ഇൻ്റലക്ച്വൽ ലൈഫ് എഴുതിയാൽ മതി. ലൈഫ് സ്പാൻ എഴുതിയില്ലെങ്കിൽ വേണമെങ്കിൽ എഴുതിക്കോ, യു ക്യാൻ ജസ്റ്റ് റൈറ്റ് അറ്റ് ദ ടോപ്പ്. ഇൻ്റലക്ച്വൽ ലൈഫ് ഇസ് മോർ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് 1840 to 1883. ദെൻ വി ഹാവ് റിട്ടൺ ദ സോഷ്യോ എക്കണോമിക് പൊളിറ്റിക്കൽ കോണ്ടെക്സ്റ്റ്. അതിൽ മാർക്സിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് എഴുതണം, അതും 4 പേരുടെ സെയിം ആയിരിക്കും എന്തായാലും, അല്ലേ? ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് സെയിം ആണ്. So socio-economic and political chaos in Europe. You can write that. Okay, and then perspective. Marx and conflict. പിന്നെ മെത്തേഡ് അങ്ങനെ പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് മെത്തേഡ് ഒന്നുമില്ല. Who is superior, individual or society? Society is superior for Marx. Theory, അതിലിപ്പോൾ ഓൾറെഡി എഴുതിയേക്കുന്ന ഹിസ്റ്റോറിക്കൽ മെറ്റീരിയലിസം, ക്ലാസ് സ്ട്രഗിൾ, അലീനേഷൻ. അതുപോലെ നിങ്ങൾ ഡുർഖീം എഴുതണം, വെബർ ഫിൽ ചെയ്യണം, മീഡ് ഫിൽ ചെയ്യണം, പാർസൺ ഫിൽ ചെയ്യണം, മേർട്ടൺ ഫിൽ ചെയ്യണം. ഇതുവരെ നമ്മൾ ചെയ്തു വെച്ചിട്ട് ജസ്റ്റ് ഈ ഒരു ടേബിൾ ഹൊറിസോണ്ടലായിട്ട് വെച്ചോ, ഇങ്ങനെ വരച്ചാൽ മതി. ഇങ്ങനെ വരച്ചാലേ കിട്ടുള്ളൂ നിങ്ങൾക്ക്. So ഇവിടെ perspective, conflict and evolutionary also. ഇവിടെ functional and evolutionary. Like that. നിങ്ങൾ whatever you have written, what is the purpose of this? You're not going to reproduce in exam or anything. Whatever you understood from this discussion, we are just consolidating in the table. അത്രേ ഉള്ളൂ. There is nothing more. You read, you understand, and see if you can fill this. Even if you're not able to fill it, it's not a problem. Thinkers കഴിഞ്ഞ് കഴിയുമ്പം അതെല്ലാം ഈസി ആയിക്കോളും. ഓക്കെ, എന്തെങ്കിലും ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ഉണ്ടോ? ഇല്ല. സോ വിൽ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് വിത്ത് മാർക്സ് ടുമോറോ, ഫസ്റ്റ് തിയറി. ഓക്കെ.